Vastness of the space has rendered our dreams of interstellar travel.
15 billion miles from home, a battered metal craft drifts through the loneliest dark we know. That metal craft is none other than Voyager 1, older than most people alive today. It should have fallen silent long ago. But now, beyond the last glimmers of our solar rays, its instruments just caught something that shouldn't exist. A plasma wave detector that was never built to spot movement picked up a signal. This wasn't just noise or a background hum, it was alive with motion. The reading changed speed, shifted direction, and pulsated with a pattern no drifting rock or dust cloud could explain. Then, it was gone. Physics says this can't happen, but the data says it did. What did Voyager see? And more horrifyingly, why did it flee? If you dare to find out, hit like and subscribe. Before this strange anomaly, everything about the Voyager's lonely path made sense. Launched in 1977, it was meant to brush past Jupiter and Saturn, snap a few historic pictures, and then drift quietly into deep space. Nobody expected its faint signals to still reach Earth nearly 50 years later. Today, Voyager 1 drifts far beyond the heliopause, that invisible line where the sun's warmth and winds finally give up against the vast chill of interstellar space. Out here, the universe is supposed to be silent and steady. It's a place where nothing much happens, just a thin haze of hydrogen, the occasional cosmic ray, and the soft, predictable hum of plasma particles moving in patterns we understand. In this dead zone too, motion should be impossible. Nothing drifts off course or shifts without a push. The deeper the Voyager drifts, the more it reminds us how cold, empty, and lifeless the spaces between stars really are. But then, the instruments jerked awake. Why did they suddenly resurrect after so long? It started as a flicker, the kind of blip the engineers back on Earth have seen before, but this time the spark didn't fade. Instead, it held steady and grew clearer, pressing itself onto Voyager's aging plasma wave instrument. Built to listen for the gentle hiss of charged particles drifting past, this detector suddenly picked up a frequency that didn't belong. It wasn't just background noise. The signal moved with life, rose, fell, and shifted direction like it had its own mind. Each reading showed a consistent pattern that didn't match any natural phenomenon Voyager had ever recorded. When the first data dump hit mission control, the NASA team did what they always do: blame the machine. Maybe cosmic radiation had scrambled the circuits, or some frozen wire deep in Voyager's bones had twitched for the first time in decades. But the more they checked, the less sense that made. There were no signs of sensor failure. With no static nor ghost echoes, there was nothing to blame but the universe itself. Was the universe somehow conniving to disprove science? Out there in the thin fog of the local interstellar cloud, this rogue signal seemed to dance. Some researchers said it was almost like watching something weave through water currents, bending, dipping, and circling around Voyager's path. It behaved more like a school of fish dodging a predator than a clump of particles drifting on solar winds. It was erratic, but not random, like fingerprints on a sealed coffin, a hint that something is moving where nothing should. And that was only the first sign. When Voyager's plasma wave instrument first picked up the strange signal, the engineers thought they'd seen it all. An aging probe drifting 15 billion miles from home will throw a few curveballs now and then, but what came next didn't fit any glitch they'd ever logged. The first anomaly was unsettling enough, a signal moving when nothing should, but the second one cracked open something bigger. As the team tracked the readings, they realized this thing wasn't just drifting at random. Its speed estimates made no sense. The numbers on the monitor flickered, recalculated, and then showed something impossible. Are we really ready for what Voyager has in store? The signal's apparent speed spiked so high that for a moment it looked like it was traveling faster than light. If that is true, it completely breaks the rule that holds our entire understanding of space together. Einstein's equations don't budge for anything with mass. Light speed is the ultimate speed limit. Anything faster than that would slam the physics book shut. And yet, there it was, a faint echo looping around Voyager's path. As if this ripple or object or whatever it was had wrapped itself around the probe. One scientist described it like a ripple racing across a pond, only the ripple was violently chasing its own tail. People in the control room tried to blame it on the probe's age. Maybe the detectors were reading data out of sync, but every check came back clean. The timestamps lined up pretty well, and the signal didn't stutter or repeat like a corrupted file. For a second, everyone stared at the numbers on the screen like they'd just seen a ghost. By Einstein's laws, nothing with mass can break light speed, so what is this? The shocker didn't stop at the loops and ripples. The third anomaly made it worse. As the scientists watched the signal dance, it began to change direction. Out there, motion should be simple. You drift with the current, pulled by gravity or the faint push of a cosmic breeze. But this signal didn't just drift, it turned. It bent around Voyager's path, curved back, then shifted again, like a moth dodging the beam of a flashlight. One engineer leaned over the console and muttered what everyone else was thinking. It's like a ghost flitting between shadows, always just out of reach. No random cloud of particles does that. It doesn't adjust course to avoid detection. It doesn't pivot away when the sensors focus in. The deeper they looked, the clearer it became. This was no passive drift. It was motion with intention, or at least with behavior that mimicked something alive. The mission's veterans, the people who had guided Voyager through countless telemetry puzzles, couldn't find a neat explanation. Some blamed cosmic rays bending the signal. Others insisted the software must be glitching. But each time they lined up the raw data against known plasma patterns, the old excuses fell apart. Even NASA's best minds admit Voyager's aging instruments simply can't fake these directional shifts. It was an unsettling thing to hear from people who've spent their whole careers proving that the universe follows rules. Was the thing they spent their whole life studying about to fail them? And then came the final twist. Just when it felt like the signal might reveal itself, just when they thought they could lock in on its path and maybe get more answers, it vanished. One moment, the plasma wave instrument was alive with those tiny frequency shifts, tracking every bob and weave. The next, it flatlined with no fade or slow drift out of range. The anomaly didn't weaken, it simply switched off. For hours, they scanned the same patch of space. They combed through the overlapping frequencies, hoping for a leftover spark or an echo, but the signal didn't come back. The region slipped back into its steady, predictable hum, like it always had before. Voyager's instruments hummed along as if nothing had happened at all. Could it be that something out there turned itself off or slipped away? What leaves scientists uneasy is that this didn't feel like a glitch that resolved itself. It felt like something on the other end made a choice to appear, move, and then leave no trace behind except a riddle for the only tiny machine drifting by. Voyager drifts deeper every second. The signal is gone, but its questions still cling to those who listen. What could switch off physics like a light? When Voyager's signal cut out, it left the science team staring at more than just a blank screen. It left behind a riddle that doesn't sit comfortably inside any textbook. The question of what this was quickly turned into how it could even exist, and each possible answer only makes the mystery worse. One theory tries to cling to normal science. Maybe Voyager drifted into some rare region of plasma turbulence. Out beyond the heliopause, the universe is mostly a cold ocean of charged particles. It's possible, they say, that swirling currents formed a self-organizing pattern, like smoke rings drifting through air. Some even wonder about dark matter filaments, ghostly threads that bend around gravity and visible matter, shaping the cosmos in ways we can't fully see. But there's a problem. Plasma storms don't change course. They don't speed up, then vanish like a ghost slipping between shadows. They swirl, spread out, and fade. This thing moved with intention, or at least with a purpose that didn't fit any natural pattern. If the principle of cause and effect is true, what possible cause gave way to that effect? As science tried to make sense of that, another idea sprang up. What if it wasn't matter at all? What if Voyager brushed past something made entirely of energy, a ripple or a distortion so finely tuned it could mimic motion faster than light? Imagine a ripple that pulls the layers of space like a stone dropped in water. Only the stone never sinks, and the water never stops remembering the splash. It's beautiful to picture, but also terrifying. Because if energy alone can bend the rules, then the rules we trust about distance and speed might not protect us as much as we thought. No known physics supports this because it splits the standard model wide open. The next theory digs even deeper. Some analysts think the signal's strange pulsing hints at more than just random movement. Maybe it was encoded, like a message hidden inside a wave. They found tiny shifts in frequency, the kind you see when information is packed into a carrier signal. That pattern shouldn't exist in interstellar noise. So how did it get there? Now here's where the room goes quiet. If this was a message, who sent it? Because if something tried to talk, even for a moment, then Voyager didn't just drift into its path, it was noticed. The final idea is the one nobody wants to say out loud. What if Voyager was meant to see it? Out there in the deep, a battered machine powered by a flickering piece of plutonium crossed an impossible path. Maybe it didn't just stumble on a wandering reverberation. Maybe something out there let itself be seen. Imagine an old probe drifting alone, only to brush against something that chose to look back, or a machine that was never supposed to find company, but did. And if it found us, what comes next? When you pull all the pieces together, what Voyager did feels less like an accident and more like a crack in reality. A battered relic powered by fading plutonium and held together by decades-old circuitry drifted so far from home that the sun itself became just another star behind it. And in that endless quietness, it found movement, speed, direction, and intention that physics says can't exist. It must be that something out there bent the rules, danced around our best instruments, then vanished before we could name it. And one machine, alone in the void, touched the edge of something no one was ready for. No one at NASA can fully explain how a probe built to study Jupiter ended up brushing against an anomaly that laughs in the face of light speed. Now the only question left is the one that still hums inside every unanswered signal. What if it's still there, waiting for the next push in the dark? Voyager won't last forever. Its little heartbeat of plutonium fades a bit more each day, its instruments growing quiet one by one. Eventually, its voice will go silent, swallowed by the same darkness it's crossed for nearly 50 years. Before Voyager's signal takes a final bow, we have to ask ourselves, what else is out there, watching, and waiting for us to drift just close enough?